It was February 1st, 2021, when a small place called Plains Township, which is located in Pennsylvania, was a home of very stupid event. And I didn't really want to use that word, but when you fight over snow shoveling and at the end of the day you end up dead because of it, I really don't see any other word which would like fit better in place. Alright, so as we said, it was February 1st, 2021, and a guy called Jeffrey Spade was outside in his yard and he was shoveling snow. Across the street were his neighbors Lisa and James Goy, and they were pretty much doing the same thing, so shoveling snow. Since it was some kind of I don't know how should I call it, let's just call it a snow wave. And this place, Plains Township, was hit a little bit harder, so it was like 30 or 40 centimeters of snow. So logically they were supposed to do a lot of shoveling. Now the thing is that they were both shoveling snow, but they were dropping the snow on each other's property. And firstly, I don't know why the hell would anybody, like drop the snow on neighbor's property, but like I said, it was a messed up case and this was just happening like that. Now, by some accounts, this was like a regular thing between these guys, but the thing is that on that particular day, so the February 1st, James and Lisa Goy started doing that first, so they dropped the snow on Jeffrey Spade's property, and the guy simply, like walked out and said, please stop it, so don't do that. Now, in a normal situation, the first thing is that nobody would actually do such a thing in the first place. So, but let's just, put that aside and presume, yeah, they did it. So the second normal thing is that they would just all apologize to each other and, like, I'm sorry too, and go back into the house and continue with their daily lives like nothing had happened, because it is really nothing. However, as we can now see and know, that just didn't happen. They started fighting, like verbally, and they started insulting each other like, I don't know, like hell.
You go f yourself, you queer. Come in, scummy mother. Step out here, I'll knock your ass out. You! Make your life a living hell living here, dickhead. What? You heard me. You would probably...
You're the scumbag!
No,
You
he's
don't
got a
fucking
gun
bother with
behind.
nobody!
He's got a gun behind him. He's a fucking scum. You're a pussy. Pussy.
Go ahead! Go ahead!
But it seems like James and Lisa were taking the initiative, so they were calling Jeffrey very bad names, and they were yelling at him like, like it's a regular occurrence, like it's a normal daily routine. So it's 2 against 1. So at one point they were like really close. They gathered in the middle of the street, and James actually threatened that he will kick the living hell out of Jeffrey if he like didn't stop right there, so if he didn't shut up. Lisa was basically just supporting her husband, and on top of already a mountain of insults James had pointed directly towards Jeffrey, she just like put more oil on the sizzling hot pan. And the reason was, like we said, they stuffed a bunch of snow on his property. He said please stop it, and they like took it that personally, and they started insulting the guy. He started insulting the back, and the fight broke up. Now, in the middle of that fighting, Jeffrey Spade decided, alright man, it's enough, I'm gonna go into the house. Now at that particular time, both James and Lisa were like thinking, alright, we're winning, he's retreating, we're just gonna keep insulting him as he leaves into his house. But the big problem was that they didn't know he was leaving that fight scene, that boxing ring, to get his gun. We can see that they're standing in the middle of the street, right? And he's approaching with a gun. At that point, James says something like, drop the gun or put the gun down, something like that. And Lisa actually shouts, go ahead. something like, I dare you to do it. And what do you think happened next? He started shooting, and the first 4 or 5 times, I can't recall right now, he missed. So I'm not completely sure if he like missed on purpose. Did he just like wanted to warn them or something, or was he just a bad shot? I really don't know. But the point is that as he opened the fire, he missed the first 4 or 5 shots. Now at that point, the next one hit James, and soon after James started running towards his house and yelling, "Call the cops." He then fired a couple of shots in Lisa, who just ended up on the street. But what is important here, at that particular time they were both alive. Now he approaches Lisa because she was closer and fires a couple of more shots. Then he moves down and fires a couple of more shots in James. After he was done, he decided to retreat in his house, and everybody thought like that was it. So now in this photo you can see a couple of neighborhood kids. So they were just there, and at that time they like thought that Lisa collapsed on the floor because it was icy, and the same thing happened to James. So they approached both Lisa and James and they basically asked, "Hey, do you need some help?" Now as soon as they realized that they were not laying on the floor because they tripped themselves over, neighbors started yelling like, go back into the house, run. And at that particular time Jeffrey Spade was coming out of his house again. So it turns out that he only went into the house to change his gun for an AR-15. Basically he ran out of bullets and he just wanted to finish the job. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. Imagine that. So that is like very, very, very brutal. And I promise you, like, it's even worse when you watch the actual footage. So once again, warning, if you don't have like a strong stomach, please do not watch it. Now he approaches really close to Lisa and only says like something like, "You should have kept your mouth shut," and shoots her on the spot. He goes down, shoots James as well, and at that time he retreated to his house for good. Obviously at that point neighbors had already called the cops, and they reported that he was just like walking around the house very nervously, and then he decided for the end to take his own life. And that, my people, was it. 3 people were dead because of the freaking snow. Can you imagine that so stupid thing turns out to be such a disaster? I don't believe it, man. I mean, I still cannot believe this actually happened. But it actually happened. So let's try to determine why the hell it happened. Alright, so Jeffrey Spade was a decorated veteran. So he served in the military, he served in the Navy, in the Army. I don't know what you guys have over there, but the main thing is that he was very acknowledged. And on top of that, he worked as an engineer for 20 years. And so he basically grew up in that place and didn't have any problems whatsoever. Except for one, fighting with his neighbors. And the neighbors in play, you guessed it, were Goys. Now, according to other neighbors, they had like really toxic relationships. So they were like fighting on a daily basis. So a normal day for them wouldn't be normal if they didn't fought on something. So I don't know, I don't care what it is. It's like some kind of trash or some kind of, I don't know what, but they like had to fight every single day to insult each other. And that was a normal day. Now, it is time for that disclaimer number 2. So I'm just speaking that what I read. So I did a little bit of researching and I found out that all that Jeffrey Spade did was he defended himself. So the Goys were always like the initiator of fighting. So they were like torturing that guy. They were insulting him on daily basis. I don't know why. Nobody knows why. But again, I'm just saying what I read. So I'm not saying they actually did that, but in some way that would like explain a whole of a lot of things. I don't know, allegedly they had something against that guy. They just didn't like the guy at all. It basically looked like this. Goys do something to provoke Jeffrey. Jeffrey defended himself, spark ignites, and they're fighting, and that's it. Again, I'm just putting facts that I read online on various forums and according to neighbors, so I obviously don't live there, I'm not their neighbor, so I don't know what actually happened, but according to majority of the people, that was that kind of relationship. Now, when you put some things in place, such as the fact that he was in the army, so God knows what that guy actually saw, so you know, like, the war is pretty messed up stuff. And as you know, it is very common to suffer from some, I don't know, post-traumatic stress or something. So you have seen a lot of bad things, and that just sticks with you, sticks in your head. You have constant flashbacks or something, and yeah, man, it's not good. Now, on top of that, his wife actually died out of cancer, and to make matters worse, after that, just imagine how the situation was with the guy, with Jeffrey Spade in that particular moment. So he was having maybe flashbacks, I don't know, and on top of that, his wife died from the cancer. And the Goys just kept insulting him, insulting and torturing the guy on regular basis. So again, disclaimer number 3, I don't know if that happened, but again, it would explain a hell of a lot of things. So does this justify what Jeffrey did? Absolutely not. However, now we have a possible reason. Basically, many people said that after his wife passed away, he was like really depressed, and he wanted, you know, to off himself as well. And this was like the drop that spilled over the glass. I mean, that is a saying in Serbia, I don't know how you guys say it, but it was like the drop that I'm losing it, man. But you know what I mean. He was like a ticking time bomb. Now, I want to talk about 2 things I noticed here on this particular footage. And I'm gonna show an image again so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So first of all, when I first heard about this case, and I read an actual article, and it said like they were dumping snow on each other's properties, I assumed that their houses were located like one on the right and one on the left, but it turns out that their houses were like on the opposite side of the street, so across each other. And when you think about it, that would mean that one person would have to shovel the snow all the way across the entire street and dump it on the neighbor's property. So as you guys can see here, so they're standing in the middle of the street, so you guys can see how big of this street actually is. So you have several cars parked on the left and on the right, so you have the place to put unwanted snow, but you decide that you're gonna shovel the snow all the way across the street and dump it on someone else's property. So that fact is like baffling. So did they, I don't know if he like did the same, but that is just like next level I really hate you neighbor kind of stuff. Now the second thing is that, and I'm gonna return on the scene when he approaches with a gun, and we're seeing that both Lisa and James are standing in the middle of the street. Alright, so I said that he missed the first 4 or 5 shots. And what is baffling to me is that they just kept standing there as he started shooting. So, I mean, like a normal person would have a reaction. So when you see a gun, you immediately start running. So you don't have to wait anything. I mean, the guy is carrying a gun. What else should you actually do? Certainly not standing in that place. But let's just assume that they were shocked about the fact that he's actually carrying a gun. But wait, on top of that, they were standing there and Lisa was provoking him, do it, like go ahead, as we said, go ahead, I dare you. Basically, I think you don't have the balls. And after he shot James, Lisa actually continued to yell at him. I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know how would I react in that situation, but I'm completely sure that if I see a guy that carries a piece, I certainly wouldn't just stand there and provoke him do something. But because of that fact, you can actually see how deep hatred went between these people, and it's absolutely twisted, absolutely disturbing and insane. I don't know, man. I'm just imagining my encounter with my neighbor back in Serbia. So we take out the trash every Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And so the garbage man can pick up the garbage and go away, right? And I'm just imagining my neighbor comes and puts his trash on my side of the street, close to my fence. And I'm just there standing on the window, and I see what he did, and I walk out of the house and just say, "What? You put your trash on close to my fence?" And then I started bashing his head out, and that's it. I mean, nah, man. When you put it like this, it sounds like completely crazy, but it is really not different from what happened here. And it truly gives you a true scale of how unnecessary this whole thing was. But I guess they just hated too much each other, and this was like the ultimate result. But the worst outcome of this whole situation is the fact that Lisa and James left behind a 15-year-old son. And for what? For something that melts, and for something that is not permanent, for something that in the next couple of weeks even won't be there. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is like one of the craziest cases I have ever heard of. I mean, it's not crazy, but it is hard to comprehend that people are capable of doing such things for some very, very idiotic reasons. And this was like really, really stupid reason. I don't know, man. I really have nothing left to say. Once again, if you want to check the footage out, you can easily find it. But the third warning, if you're not like prepared, do not watch it, because it is like really, really disturbing. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the new one.